What do we have here? Got some trim tabs. Taking the boat out a little bit this past couple of weekends. We've had some people with us, and what we've noticed since we've added the trim platform is that the boat porpoises terribly with the extra weight on the back of it, and it really is annoying. It causes a lot of pounding. The boat handles totally different. So I did a bunch of research, and these are the guys that came up to be kind of the best. They've been around forever and ever and ever. So I chose them. They're not cheap. This set is right around $650, $670, kind of depends on where you find it. If you get them at a local shop, they're going to be a little more expensive. I found them online for, maybe $20 or $30 less, but then you pay more for shipping. So I really fought this because honestly, you have to drill through your transom in a lot of places, and that's just really freaked me out. So, but I really have to do something because it's annoying trying to go across the lake and your boat is just pounding in the surf. So this is what I chose. These are the 12 by 12 trim tabs, and you can see that here is your guide. It says a 12 by 12 will handle a boat 18 to around 23. And then they had an 18 by 9 inch that would handle a little bit bigger, but I talked to Bennett and they said definitely go with these on my particular boat. They said these are the most recommended. So let's see what's in here. Everything's included. It's a hydraulic trim tab. It's not electric, so that means these are hydraulic trim cylinders. It comes with your helm switch, all your wiring, all your tubing. It comes with the hydraulic pump, which we'll look more at here in a second. And it comes with the stainless steel trim tabs at the bottom. You see them hanging out down there. And I've already opened all the hardware and laid it out here because they include everything except for the number 10 screws that holds the trim tabs to the transom. So they include everything else, but not those, which is kind of interesting. And they even told you have to buy them. So they give you a nice list at the very top of stuff that you need to buy, which I missed one important one, which is epoxy. I completely missed that when I was standing at Lowe's getting all my parts, so we're going to have to leave here in a minute and go get it. No big deal, but I do have my marine grade sealant and all the other kind of stuff. But back to the screws. They come with all the screws that you need to mount this to the transom, the insides, all your pipe fittings, everything that you need. You just got to supply the tools, which they say you need vice grips, strippers, various screwdrivers, drill bits, marine sealant, and a 2.5 inch hole saw. And I went, what in the world is that for? Well, it's for the helm switch. You got to drill in there so that way it sits flush. So you need a 4-foot straight edge, which a level is perfectly fine. It's how we set the negative angle of the trims, which I'll show you here in a second. I have read through the instructions, I can't tell you how many times, just making sure that I'm 100% understanding. They give you templates, they give you all the stuff that you need. So we're going to tear into this and go step by step and show you exactly how it is. I'm going to go pull the boat in after we get back from AutoZone here, try to get in the shade because the temperature today is supposed to be 105. Okay, I thought it was 102, but it's going to be 105. So we're going to try to get this done and then get out on the lake and test them out. And also, you see those two pieces of wood right there? Those are my new bunks. We're going to try to replace the bunks while we're at it too. So we'll see how far we get. Not really sure yet, but that's where we are. Hopefully we'll have a much better handling boat when this is all said and done. Okay, so of course with every one of our projects, there's something that kind of gets in the way. All right, so with the trim tabs, they want it to be about 3 to 4 inches from your chine, and this is actually quite a bit further, but I'll tell you why. Right here, where my old swim platform comes down, I don't have enough room to put the actuator, which is over here, the actuator against here to the trim tab and get the proper amount of what you call negative angle. And that is the tab has to be up just a teensy bit, and that's what we have this 4-foot long ruler or level for, with a spacer on the bottom of it, and you pull this all the way out to here, and what that does is that gives you a negative angle. Well, if we moved it out to this spot where it would have been ideal to start, it would have put the top of my actuator into the curve, and you can see from the back of it, it doesn't sit flat, so we have to be down a little bit. So with that being said, we're going to have to trim this back plate just a teeny bit. Right here you see the pencil mark, so that way this can slide down a little bit more, and that gives us a perfect the perfect mounting spot up there on the transom. So that's our first little issue, and this is the most crucial part of getting these things mounted up, is where you're going to put them on the transom. Obviously they want them further out, but this is not too bad. So the 4-inch mark was right about here, and so we're only down about another inch. So it's not terrible. We're still within 8 inches of our outdrive, which is what they wanted, is make sure from the center line you were at least 8 inches over. And we're going to be redoing these bunks, hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, and we are going to cut them shorter so that way this never ever interferes with our bunk. So far so good. Our next step now is to make sure we're 100%. I'm about, I don't know, an eighth of an inch to a 16th of an inch off of the bottom here, and that makes the bottom of the trim tab absolutely perfect with the water. And then we're going to mark with a pencil all these holes and pilot drill it after we, of course, cut this side. So we're going to go cut both back plate and sandwich plate and see where that puts us. Really should use WD-40 when you're cutting metal, but oh well. It's cut. So now we have our backer plate and the sandwich plate that holds the hinges. And then when you go over here to the transom, it allows me to get just a little bit closer. So instead of being 3 to 4 inches off of the chine, we're about 8 inches. So a little further away, but I don't think it's gonna make that big of a difference. And if it does, there's nothing I can do about it. And the only reason we're having problems right now is because of this bar for the swim platform and this covering. So I don't have a huge rear transom. So anyway, moving on. Alrighty, we have both of them set up. Now you'll notice that side I did not have to cut because this pole is actually about an inch further in. That just shows that I didn't quite measure 100%, but you know, at 20 feet you really can't tell. But now that you have the trim tabs up there, it's gonna stand out like a sore thumb, but you know, no big deal. Anyway, we are good. I'm happy with both places. They're exactly 23.5 inches from the center line of the boat. So we're going to take our pencil and mark the holes, and then we're going to drill it according to the instruction, which are somewhere around here on the floor. Let's see where we got this. It says to 9/64, and then if it's too tight, you put in a 5/32. So we're going to take the pencil, mount these holes, and then we'll drill them and test it then. It feels like it's kind of nice is it's only going into the epoxy. It's not going into wood. Or I'm sorry, the resin. And these are nice new drill bits. There we go. So now we're going to grab our. Go for it. So now we're at the part where we got to put the tab onto the boat. We had a problem is that the tab needs to be on at a slight angle, and I couldn't get it, so we had to jack the back of the boat up. And what I did is I took and put a little bit of pookie around the backing plate to give it a good seal around the holes, and then I put in a couple of locating screws. So now I can take this and put it in here like that, and then this will allow this to hang down, and we can screw the rest of the screws in. And then this is where you mix up your 5-minute epoxy. And you coat the threads. So this stuff gets darker as it dries or something. pull this up even. Alright, we got one located now. Everything looks good, so I'm just going to go down the line. You have somebody putting epoxy around the threads. I got these two up here. So now I take out my locating screws and we put epoxy around those. And the only reason I did the locating is just to hold it in one spot, so I didn't need 10 hands to do it. Alright, so that's it. This gives you good movement up and down. So now I'll just go get my trim cylinder. You got it? And those two screws, the machine screws. And just snugs it down. Let me hand you the ruler. So this will kind of put everything in a perspective of how it works. We have a 5/8 inch little spacer taped onto my level here. You put it on the bottom of the boat. And what that does is that establishes the negative angle of the trim tab. So therefore it's right across the bottom here. It actually comes up a little bit from the back of the boat. And then that locates where we need to drill our holes for the cylinder at the very top. So we'll take a little break, do the other side, and we'll be back to drill the rest of the holes here in a little bit.